Think about this. For 174 million years, our planet, it was ruled by giants. I mean, a dynasty of creatures so powerful, so dominant, they literally shaped the world we're all living on today. So we're going to dive into the story of their incredible reign and the one single cataclysmic day it all came crashing down.
I want you to just try and picture it. A world where the top predators were bigger than any land animal we have today. They could hit speeds of 90 kilometers an hour and had a bite force, well, it's unlike anything we've seen since. These weren't just animals, you know? They were the undisputed masters of the planet. Just a truly, truly terrifying force of nature. So after a reign that lasted, get this, hundreds of times longer than our own species has even existed, they just vanished. And not slowly either. It was like a geologic blink of an eye. Poof! So the big question is, what could possibly wipe them out? What kind of cosmic force could bring a dynasty like that to its knees? Well, that is the mystery we're unpacking today. Okay, so to really get a handle on how they ended, we first have to understand their world. You see, their story isn't just one single chapter. No way. It's this epic saga that spans 3 completely distinct ages. And each one had its own climate, its own geography, and its own wild cast of characters. You know, the name itself, dinosaur, actually comes from the Greek for terrible lizard. A British scientist named Richard Owen came up with it way back in 1841, when the first of these giant fossils were being dug up. And back then, let's be honest, the picture we had of them was kind of fuzzy, almost clumsy, right? But as we found more and more, our understanding has sharpened into these incredible, dynamic, powerful creatures we think of today. All right, let's rewind the clock way back. We're talking 240 million years ago to the Triassic period. And you gotta picture a world totally different from ours. All the land is smashed together into one giant supercontinent called Pangaea. This is where the very first dinosaurs, these small, quick little guys, took their first steps. But their big moment, that came after a massive extinction event totally cleared the stage for them. That's what kicked off the Jurassic period, and that's when they became the planet's undisputed rulers. Which, of course, set the scene for the Cretaceous period, an absolute explosion of diversity with giants like the T-Rex at the top of the food chain.
So here's the million-dollar question. How did they get so dominant? Well, believe it or not, it was actually an extinction that paved the way for them. See, around 201 million years ago, there were these massive volcanic eruptions that caused insane climate change. Most of the other big reptiles were cold-blooded, and they just couldn't handle those wild temperature swings. But the dinosaurs, they were different. They were warm-blooded. So they didn't just survive, they thrived. And with all their competition gone, they basically inherited the Earth. And man, what a world they inherited. During the Jurassic and Cretaceous, life just exploded. You've got the first feathered dinosaurs like Archaeopteryx taking to the sky. You have herbivores like the Argentinosaurus growing to a jaw-dropping 77 tons. That's heavier than a dozen elephants. The legendary T-Rex is stalking the land. And all the while, the planet itself is changing. The continents are starting to drift into shapes we'd recognize, and the very first flowers and grasses are starting to pop up. Okay, now here is a fact that is going to completely twist your perception of time. We kind of tend to lump all the dinosaurs together in our heads, right? But get this, we, humans, are closer in time to the T-Rex than the T-Rex was to a dinosaur like the Stegosaurus. Let that sink in. It's just a stunning, mind-bending reminder of how impossibly long their empire actually lasted. So for 174 million years, their world was just flourishing. They were the masters of this vibrant, ever-changing planet. And then, in one single, terrible day, it all came to a fiery, brutal end. Okay, so 66 million years ago, an asteroid, something between 10 and 15 kilometers wide, came screaming towards Earth. It was moving 150 times faster than a modern jet plane, and it slammed into our planet with the explosive force of 1 billion Hiroshima bombs. 1 billion. It's almost impossible to even imagine. That impact kicked off this horrifying, planet-killing chain reaction. First, you have the blast itself. It instantly vaporized a 180-kilometer-wide crater in the area of modern-day Mexico. Immediately after that came a global heat wave, a pulse of thermal radiation that literally cooked animals alive where they stood. Then came the aftershocks. 2-kilometer-high mega tsunamis and wildfires that raged across entire continents. And as if that wasn't enough, all that dust and soot gets thrown into the sky, blocking out the sun for over a year. The planet plunged into a brutal nuclear winter, and the entire global food chain just collapsed, from the plants on up. The result? It was absolute devastation. Not a single four-legged creature weighing more than about 25 kilos survived. In total, 75% of all life on Earth was just gone, wiped out forever. But even in the darkness of that global catastrophe, some life did find a way. Some things clung on. And the death of the giants, well, that turned out to be an opportunity. For the small, for the tough, for the resilient, a brand new world was about to dawn. So who actually made it through the apocalypse? Well, it wasn't the biggest and strongest, it was the most adaptable. We're talking small creatures that could burrow underground or hide out in the water. Scavengers that could just live on all the decaying stuff everywhere. Things like our tiny early mammal ancestors. Turtles, crocodiles, lizards, snakes. And, this is the key part, a handful of flying dinosaurs. But how are we so sure it was an asteroid? I mean, that's a pretty big claim. Well, the evidence is literally written into the rock of the planet. Scientists found this thin layer of a rare mineral, iridium, all over the world, and rock that's exactly 66 million years old. Now, iridium is super rare here on Earth's surface, but it's really common in asteroids. It's the geological smoking gun, the fingerprint of the killer, left all over the crime scene. And hey, remember those flying dinosaurs that managed to survive? Well, they didn't just disappear over time. They evolved. They became the birds we see flying around every single day. And in fact, get this, genetic studies have confirmed it. The closest living relative of the mighty, terrifying Tyrannosaurus rex is a chicken. Yep, the rulers of the ancient world are still with us. They're just in our backyards. Okay, so this whole story isn't just some fascinating piece of ancient history. It's actually a pretty profound warning. It's a story about extinction that is directly relevant to us right here, right now. See, that asteroid impact caused the 5th mass extinction in Earth's history. And today, pretty much all scientists and biologists agree, the 6th one has already begun. But this time, the killer isn't hurtling in from outer space. Nope, the cause of this new extinction event isn't a volcano, it's not a natural climate cycle, and it's not an asteroid. It's us, 100%. Our activities, deforestation, pollution, the whole shebang, they're causing species to go extinct at a rate that's somewhere between 100 and 1,000 times faster than the normal background rate. You could say, we are the asteroid now. So let's just put our own time on top in perspective for a second. The dinosaurs' reign lasted 174 million years. Modern humans? We've only been around for about 300,000 years. That means they were here almost 600 times longer than we have been. And yet, look at the impact we've already had in our tiny slice of time. We're already kicking off a global extinction event. Their dynasty was ended by a random, cataclysmic event from outer space. The fate of our dynasty? Well, that's being decided by the choices we make every single day. Their story is the ultimate lesson that no reign is permanent, and it leaves us with one final, pretty sobering question to think about.